Welcome to the Spa Girls podcast, the self-publishing podcast for authors. You're in the right place for the best writing, marketing, and publishing advice, plus interviews with industry experts and best-selling authors. I'm Cheryl Phipps.
I'm Shar Barrett.
I'm Trudy J. And this week we have Phil Marshall from audio platform, I guess, Spoken. Say hello.
Hey,
Yeah.
Phil.
Hi, Phil. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. This is very exciting. I feel like we've covered the world today. Like we're like, we're coming to you from the planet Earth today.
Exactly. Exactly.
Every week we're coming from the planet Earth. So,
Well,
so
some would argue against that.
That's okay. Weird. I write about anti-gravity and being off-world a lot.
Mm.
So
yeah,
I
you probably, that's
yeah.
very true. So, Phil, I'm going to read out your bio quickly, and then we're going to get on to the main topic of the day, which is AI narration using Spoken, which is an awesome platform that we're very excited to hear about. So, let me begin. So, we're joined today by science fiction author Phil Marshall, who is the founder and CEO of Spoken, the AI audiobook company that allows authors to create immersive single, dual, and multi-voice audiobooks using digital narration. Before founding Spoken, Phil trained as a physician and later pivoted from surgery to technology entrepreneurship, co-founding Conversa Health, a pioneering AI platform that became one of the most trusted names in digital health before being acquired in 2021. Phil is driven by the belief that the most fantastic world is the one we dare to imagine and create together. How good is that last line? I'm sorry.
Nice. Yeah, yeah.
Well done, you, on having that line in your bio. I'm just saying.
Once in a while I write a line that actually works. I mean, it's rare as a writer, right? But
Yeah.
Well, it's awesome. It's fantastic. So let's start at the beginning, Phil, and let's talk about first of all how you got into writing, how you became a sci-fi author, and then we'll move on to Spoken and the origins of Spoken, or maybe they're all the same. Maybe they're together.
it is all kind of blended together like hopefully beautiful paint colors. We'll see how it comes across. So um I have always been an inventor, an entrepreneur, and so in 2001, actually on 9/11, so on September 11th, 2001, I was on a flight and I read about the famous physics experiment called the double slit experiment, and some of the things about that are a little bit crazy, and so that opened my eyes to this universe a little bit more than it ever had. And my plane landed between when the first towers and the second towers were hit in New York, and so easy date to remember. And
Hmm.
I still have that Discover magazine article, and that got me thinking about just the way our universe works, how particles behave, why gravity behaves the way it does. And I actually created a theory in unified physics, as one does, and that's called theory of
Actually,
persistence. Yeah, casually. I mean, like whatever, name drop.
Just
And
real
and
something.
so that's called the theory of persistence. And I became really fixated on that. And I'm not a physicist. I'm an armchair physicist at best. And so I really felt the best way to bring that idea to life was through storytelling. And so that's when I started to formulate this idea. And then the writing actually became, and the story, the characterizations, the arcs of plot, and all of that, it became a life into its own for me. And I'm pleased to say that the audio of Taming the Perilous Skies, my debut novel, which really kind of manifests these ideas. Just I had a wonderful editor finally jump in way too late in the game, but she did just a fantastic job. And so the audio book, both in human form and from Made with Spoken, is both going to be about June 1st. And so this journey of mine is ongoing. And so as I was really interested in the idea and writing, I then sold my prior company, turned my attention full time towards completing Taming the Perilous Skies. And it was as part of that since 2021 that, because I am an audio only reader, that the bug bit again, and I'm like, I think I know what I can do here, and I want to bring something fantastic, a fantastic product to storytellers in bringing vivid full cast, or what we call multi-voice, works to life. And so Taming the Perilous Skies is actually the first fully automated um, multi-voice or full cast audiobook, and it has over 100 speaking characters, every single voice designed for each speaking character.
Wow.
And so that is a nice compliment, because that'll go on YouTube, and then the Audible version will be the human version, where I'll just keep the coconut here for a second and say that I'm so thrilled that my human narrators, Ryan Haugen and Abby Craden, um, not only understand my other world, right, and that I do AI, and I do AI narration stuff, but Abby, as the female part of the duet narration that's doing Taming the Perilous Skies, she was the narrator of Ted Chiang's Story of Your Life, and that was made into the movie Arrival with Amy Adams, and I secured Abby as my female part of the duet narration. And that's important, because when it comes to this theory of persistence, Ted Chiang's Story of Your Life is probably the biggest influence from a literary and scientific perspective that I've had in my life. And so to hear her voicing my main female character, Olivia, and all the female roles, it's a little bit of a like meta dream comes true,
Full
kind of
circle, kind
moment,
of
full circle.
serendipity, the whole thing.
Absolutely full circle. Yeah. So that was a lot of words. Thank you for allowing me your time today. Do we have any more time for any other questions?
No, that's it for the podcast today. Thanks to all of our listeners.
Well, you can understand your passion for it, really, when
Yeah.
all those things aligned. I think that's very cool.
Yeah. And then how did spoken come out of that? So you're obviously an audio only reader. So that's fascinating to me. So yeah, so obviously the audio is really important to you. So where did that come from, and where did spoken start?
Yeah. So in 2023, I had the great fortune of going to Taos Toolbox, which is a great speculative fiction writing workshop that no longer exists, but was run by Nancy Kress and Walter John Williams, and met 18 people who are now very close friends of mine at that 2-week workshop. And some of the things that happened at that workshop influenced me to write a certain mix of characters for some reason. I don't know why. And because I'm an audio only reader, I immediately hear those voices, like those I hear them as different accented characters, where the sound of them is mixed together in my brain like paint colors. And that's just the way I now write, and I write characters, and they have so many accents. And the first story was called Kill Your Darlings, and it was just this little short story. I wrote it in 48 hours for the second week of the workshop, and 6 different characters, a whole bunch of different accents. You've got the young British sort of self-important writer that wants to write about their stories, and you've got the Russian father and his daughter, and the gay couple from America, and you find out that he's found this pin at this French chalet, which is what's brought them all together during the storm. They're all there staying. And it's kind of an Agatha Christie meta fantasy kind of thing, where as he writes their story out, they always die at the end of their POV chapter. Because my friend Russ Nichols, who was at the workshop, is the lead writer for the very popular game Helldivers 2, is one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. And in his story that he brought to the workshop, he killed his POV character in scene 1. And I'm like, I love that. So I wrote this story, and this writer, as he wrote their little vignettes, and this is just a little short story, they would die at the end of their little POV section, right? And then it turns out, no, he's Chris from Bakersfield, not Crispin Wallingford from Oxford. And so that evolution of the sound of that story in my brain just influenced what I wanted to bring to the market, because I knew that while I do love audio and I love full cast audio, the truth is, for the indie world, which is where I'm sitting squarely in the indie world, that boy, if you thought single or duet narration was pretty inaccessible financially to really do a great job there, boy, howdy, you talk about full cast and every single character having its own voice. Well, that's $20,000 at the minimum to be able to do something like that. And I wanted to bring that to the world, and it turns out, as we'll get into because of the release that's happened with our product, it turns out that it's not just the less expensive route to go to achieve that unique result. It becomes a much more vivid and immersive experience. And so it's not just about being cheap or easily accessible or in line with the way indie authors have to budget and work. It's actually about being really great. And so that's what we do. And that's how I came to it. And I'm like, I think I can do this. I think I know how to do this. And so I've got a great team of people, great audio engineers, and a great product. And now what's out in the market, what we're calling Magic Mode, our V2 with Magic Mode, is it's jaw-dropping. I mean, it really is. So yeah.
And that's the new launch that you're talking about.
That is the new launch. Yeah, exactly. And I can go into that as much as you want.
We talk about that now, or maybe in a minute once I kind of want to explain spoken in general a little bit more for people.
Yeah, like generally at a higher level. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and then we'll talk about so what can you, how does it work? Like an author goes, okay, well, I've got this book that I've written and I want to get it in audio. What do I do? How does that work?
Yeah. So as you might imagine, you've got your words, you bring your words, you put them in, and we take it from there. So we start with a really in-depth analysis of the arc of the story, the tonality of the story, what the summary is, what the comparables are. But then the character analysis is really the centerpiece. And so we understand what their style is, what their tone is, what their pacing is, what their everything about their voice. And then with that analysis, and then you choose like what are some of my primary accents? What's the kind of pace that I want? What sounds right? So we get some of that stuff established up front. And then we'll say, okay, we've identified these words that may have uncertain pronunciation. Let's get that right up front. That's called lexicon. So you go and you listen to how it's likely going to come out. And you're like, no, you put some phonetic replacement in. And then when it gets it right, okay, that's good. Okay. Then the real centerpiece of this is the voices. You can draw from a big library of voice actor voices that get paid for every use. Okay. Or we, in that analysis of your characters, can generate a custom voice for every single one of your speaking characters, if you like. And you can use your personal voice. So you can actually upload your own personal voice. I use my voice as a villain in mine because it feels right to me. But for your memoirists, for your nonfiction folks, being able to use their voice. We actually are coming out soon. So this most recent release was the Big Kahuna. That's the multi-voice. That's the full cast. We're then going to be retrofitting the single narrator here just in the next few days. We're going to be retrofitting the single narrator approach to bring out that same kind of emotive delivery, because the emotive delivery of the inflections that we achieve now with the full cast or multi-voice work, we call MV2 with Magic Mode, we're going to be putting in the single narrator as well. But once you have the voices that you want for every character, you listen to it, they're speaking their lines, that sounds right. Then you go and we narrate the entire book for you. Now, it's important that you get those things right, those key pronunciations, those voices, get them right, because now here we go. And the thing is, you don't pay a dime. You don't pay a dime until you are happy with that finished work. It's free to use, pay when perfect. That's our model. Now, for right now, the Magic Mode is in preview mode. And so we put that in under our standard pricing model, which is $20 per 5,000 words. Or if you're a $50 per month subscriber, it's half that. It's $10 per every 5,000 words. Those are finished words once you're really happy. But this magic mode reduces the amount of work so tremendously in getting that cohesion. And I can go into that. We can talk about the layering. It's a little bit like, as this gets narrated, it's a little bit like watching those AI images get generated out of the fog, right? It starts to emerge, and then it modifies and modifies and clarifies and comes through. That's how to think about now this full cast or multi-voice delivery of an audiobook. Is we're layering it in, we're getting those inflections, we're getting the cohesion, because across multiple characters, it's actually tough to do. And so we do a lot of work to make sure that we get, if you said something like, the example I love to give is, if somebody wrote this, okay, you'll never believe what I did today. What? Well, that what was written with a question mark. So if the first person speaking to the second person, if that second person's what stood on its own, it would say what? Well, that'd be the wrong delivery, right? So you have to keep everything contextual. Everybody has their own tone. Everybody's a little bit quieter, a little bit louder. They have an accent, whatever accent, right? Like whatever accent. And of course, I always write a lot of accents. And so that interaction has to be that inflection, that arc, what we call narrative cohesion, has to be just right. And now with our magic mode, that comes out so incredibly well out of the gate. I with Taming the Perilous Skies. Oh, because we've been out in the market for a while. So I've been working on Tame the Perilous Skies. It was first fully automated, audiobook. And yet after it was automated in its initial form, I then had to wrestle each one of those passages, right? I had to regenerate, make sure it was ranked. Now the amount of work goes way down. The emotional delivery goes way up. And I mean, it just comes to life. And the barriers for an author, the barriers for them to get this just right, the perfect, has been too hard. Still, it's been too hard, and they don't want to do that. Which is why we have producers on our network that help them. They can find them right on our network, and they can work with them to get their work completed if they want. But we're going to make this so great and so easy that it's going to be as unthinkable to not create a full cast audiobook of your work as it would be to not create an ebook.
Okay, that's awesome. Star, you're on mute.
Sorry, I'm so excited I've muted myself. That's a bold statement. We love that kind of bold statement here. Can you tell us a little bit more about your talking about human narration or human voices, and how you use those, and how that's part of the platform in terms of
Yeah, well, these voices, they're all on models, right? They're all on AI models, and we bring the best voices and the best voice technology to bear. And so we have the voice library of voice actor voices that you can choose from, about 150 of them. We try to match them up best to the character that's speaking them, and they get paid for every use. And so that's one thing. But for the custom voices that we generate that are system generated voices, those are still ethically derived from consent-based platform, models that were developed using consent-based technology. In fact, at Spoken, if your viewers and listeners are interested, we do have a ethical AI page that explains how that all works and how that gets derived. But yeah, so you have, I mean, even if you put your own voice on there, that's still going to be on a model, only accessible to you, right? But it's still, it's still going to use, what's derived on the model to deliver that.
Do they sound the same, like the computer generated versus the one that's based off a human? Like, can you tell the difference between the two of them, or are they just same?
I'm not gonna tip my hand on this too much. We'll have to follow up in about 4 weeks.
Okay.
But we're gonna have some pretty astounding information on that point.
All right,
Yeah.
We'll follow up in 4 weeks.
I think here's the point. You're going to be surprised.
Okay.
You're going to be blown away.
All right.
If you have socks on, they may be blown off.
That's awesome.
Although
You know what I love?
New Zealanders don't wear socks.
No,
They don't
we
wear
just go
socks,
around in
right?
sandals.
You don't wear
Yeah,
socks.
no,
Nobody wears socks.
no,
Yeah.
no one. Only a
I don't
forced
doubt
to.
that.
I was
Do you
walking
know
around
what?
Auckland. It's like that person's not wearing socks. They're on the sidewalk in a city, and you're not wearing
Yeah, no.
anything, like barefoot.
Things are fairly
Yeah,
casual here, Phil, to be
Yeah,
fair.
yeah. Lots of kids go to
they are in
go to
Oregon
school
too.
barefoot,
Maybe
and if
not
they
quite
don't
that
arrive barefoot, they end up barefoot. Anyway, I love your enthusiasm, Phil. It's awesome. It's very catching. So you've got so we bring our manuscript, we put it in. So how long does it take, this process of kind of finding the right voice and working out the tone and all of that? Like, is this whole process take a week, a month? Like, a day, an hour?
Oh,
I think it
You
would
gave me a
depend on how
shock.
many
so
voices you need.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
so yeah, up front, you have a choice for us to auto-generate a voice for every speaking character for you.
Mhm.
And so that reduces the amount of time. If even half of those were good for you, then that reduces how much you go through, you listen, you change the prompt, you generate more, or you search through the voice library, you're filtering, you're finding the right. Okay. So that part right there can be the long pole in the tent, if you will. And but it's the right place to focus. So because what's going to come out for you in this V2 solution of ours with Magic Mode is going to be a delivery that is so good that the hard part was making sure that you got just the right voice for that character. And so focus on that, right? That's a great thing to focus on, to hear that character in your ear, right, in your head for the first time, and get it just right. That's such a great creative part of this. Now, when our authors work with our producers, we have a producer dashboard that like a publisher would use to help multiple authors. When they do that, they usually develop a workflow with the author. Like, okay, I'm going to choose the voices that I get when I read this, and the author has a workflow. Then they can come and they can then review that and say, oh, that's great. Oh, this one doesn't sound quite right. But and then there's a stage-based approach to then the author and producer having the end result that they really want. And so as far as time goes, you've asked about time. So there are parts of this. I talked about the emergence of that image through the mist, that layering of that story across an entire novel. We have really worked to optimize. Right now, as it stands right now, it still takes a while for all of those layers and that narration to complete. We'll email you when it's all done. You can monitor as it goes. Once your first chapter is done, you can listen to it, you can proof it, you can make sure that it's just right. And yet it may take a few hours for that part of the process to actually complete for you. We are working on something that by the time your viewers, listeners listen to this, maybe in place, maybe not, but we're going to cut that part of it, that emerging through the mist part of it that takes the long part of it, in about half. We know how we're going to do it. Or I guess by the time you hear this, we may have already done it. My future self is
It's
seeing the
fine.
future, by the way, is a big part of
Yeah, I was
that
going to say,
story.
you should be really good at that because you write sci-fi.
Yeah.
Well, I not only write sci-fi, but at the center of the work is what caused a terrible calamity where millions of people die as their anti-gravity aerials fall because the aerial grid malfunctions. It's controlling all this in the year 2076 is how somebody tried to look at the future using the same theories and physics foundation and tech that resulted in the anti-gravity invention. And so being able to see the future is something that's sort of central to my storytelling.
Yeah, that's awesome. So with
And
spoken,
Char's out. Char's like, I'm bored.
no.
I'm out. Like you had me at anti-gravity.
Never.
Your voice is still muted, Char. So yeah. So you're someone completely new to audio and you've never done it before, is this a scary process or are we going to be okay with it? Is it?
Will the voices come and find
We
us in the
Yeah.
night and
I
say
think
how
we
that
have
would be?
made it. Yeah, right. Exactly. No, I think we have made it as quick and as fun now as it has ever possibly been.
Mm.
And so when you go in, you're like, oh, listen to that interaction. And it's like, boy, that really comes alive. Now, I will say this, that there's nothing scary about it. It's very fun. But as you consider audio more and more, which is becoming more and more important and more dominant as a modality for delivering stories, um, I know that I alter my manuscript for delivery in multi-voice audio because I didn't need that dialogue tag right there,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
And even in duet narration, you get by with some of that thinning. But when every character has a distinct voice, you can get rid of dialogue tags. You can change them all to action tags or get rid of a lot of them entirely. And so there's a lot of things that become a consideration when this
Hmm.
happens. But no, just bring your manuscript in and just do
Mm.
it.
Okay. So how does it work in terms of, oh, so actually let's keep going with that. So is it better to start with a shorter novella, short story type thing? Is it what does it work better
It's
with?
great to start with a short story.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great way to do it. We've got a little story on the network that you can just clone into your own profile and play around with. It's already done
Mm.
with all the characters, the paddings, the spacings, the emotional arcs, and all that. You can see exactly how it all works. It's called Welcome to the Audioverse, which is a very fun little story that I wrote. And so you can play around with that. So you don't even have to bring your own work in. But again, free to use, pay when perfect. Bring your short little work in, hear your characters come to life, and then you'll become more and more comfortable with it and
Mm.
familiar with it. And then once you have a work that you want to distribute, we have partnerships with Voices by InAudio. We're approved as a digital narration provider by Voices by InAudio, who does distribution into Spotify for authors and Kobo and a lot of different the endpoints. And so yeah, as you get more and more comfortable and you have a work then that you want to put on online or put through distribution, you can. I will say one other thing, and that is increasingly we're developing these as video audiobooks for YouTube.
Mm.
And so our YouTube channel is becoming more and more popular. We will do that for you. We're also developing cinematic trailers as well with those. And so that's going to become even a bigger part of our business as well. So YouTube, Spotify, Voices by InAudio, lots of really great options for distribution.
How does it work? So for example, if you're in on Amazon or like Google Play, for example, like there's always saying to me, do your I can't remember the actual names, but the AI narration on those platforms. So what would we do if so we would generate it through Spoken and then you would just upload the audio onto those platforms as normal. Is that how that works? As opposed to
Yeah,
using
or
your own
use a distributor
platform?
like
Yeah. Or use a
right,
distributor,
or
like
use a
say
distributor
someone like,
like Voices by InAudio.
okay.
Yeah,
So does Draft to
yeah.
Digital distribute audio? No, they don't do that, do they?
So Draft to Digital doesn't. They partner with Voices by InAudio.
Oh,
So
they okay.
yep. So
Right.
yeah. So there's only one platform that doesn't allow digital narration, no matter how good, how compelling it might be, and that is the good folks at Amazon. And we're working on them. We know them well. We had a call with them just in the last couple of days, and they are pretty amazed by this V2 solution and the things that it can do. They only use their own virtual voice. The problem there is that they'll do it in the background. You never get to hear it. You never get to prove it. You never get to do a
Hmm.
thing.
Yeah.
And they saw what we're doing and they're like, oh, so if there's any issue at all, you can just go right in. I'm like, yeah, well, not only that, if you change your manuscript, you just go right in and boom. I mean, you have all the same characters. We just redo that part. And so the workflow gets transformed enormously and the workflow that they have, which is basically you have no control at all, and it's such limited technology. And it's like, really, I mean, they went the route of, oh, we'll just help you to just get it out there,
Yeah.
and
That's all
it's
it
cheap
is.
and it's
Yeah.
there, right? Aren't you happy about that? No,
Yeah.
guess what? We're not happy about
No.
that. Like, you didn't exactly give digital narration a great name there, Amazon, to be completely honest.
And you can't use it anywhere else if you do it. So,
Yeah.
you can't actually download it and use that digital narration from Amazon.
No, and you probably wouldn't really want to.
Exactly. Well, that's true. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
No, we like those guys. I mean, look, they've got a big business.
Mm.
They're protecting it as the gold standard with human voices. Man, I get it. Listen, I'm doing duet human narration of my own work because I want that experience and I want that to be on Amazon. So they do a good job. It's just that the world is changing. I think having more and more works that are important works to have on your network that are done in this way, they're going to be missing out soon, and they're not going to want to miss out. So
Yeah.
Okay.
it'll change.
So that'll change, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Let's hope they see the light. Okay. And so I know that it's less. So you talked about it really quickly. I'm talking about how much does it cost is what I'm trying to get out. And I'm know that it's less than doing the, human dual narration. You see something about $20 per 5,000 words. Did I catch that right? Or
Yeah, that's the street price. That's the non-subscriber rate. Yeah.
Okay. And then the subscriber rate, so
Right.
it's $50 a month to subscribe. Is that right? Is that what you said?
That's right. And then that cuts your narration down in half. So $10 per 5,000 words.
Yeah.
Finished words. Right.
Yeah. Finished words. That's good. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. And I I just want to go back. So there was never I suppose it's how long is a piece of string, but you never actually said how long it would take to do the narration. And is there a average time frame, or is it just how long if you spend extra time at that beginning, it's just going to take longer? And is there a
Yeah, it really all depends on the amount of time that you want to take on choosing those voices. That's really, again, under this V2 model now, that's really your biggest expense of time. And yet we can generate at least the first, try at that based on everything we derive around your character without you having to lift a finger. And so if you want to take it end to end, and you go with full automation, and you do full cast, like every speaking character has a different voice. Like even the person who comes up from the back of the crowd that says, "Excuse me," we will find the perfect voice just for you of the guy who comes from the back of the crowd that says, "Excuse me." Okay. So that's the extent we're talking about here. Yeah. And so end to end, if you take say you're talking about 100,000 word novel. Okay. So 100,000 words, let's say you're a subscriber. So that's $10 per 5,000 words. So that's 20 times that. So that's $200. Okay. So you're probably talking about if you just go full automation, you're probably talking about a 2 to 3 hour generation time. And then you're going to go through and proof it. And so it's important that you listen to your work. And so that's important. Yes, you in the gray.
Yes, me. What if that you're not very good at sitting there and listening to your work? Did you say these producers might come along and do it for you, or is that a misconception on my part?
We do some quality checks on our own to make sure that the words that were put in are the words that came out. So we do some basic checks, but it's still important to know how this all came out. It's still important to listen to your work, and you can do that proofing in our system on fast speed if you want, but it's still important that you do that. And so let's say it takes a few hours to get through the entire book, to get it narrated, and then you're spinning that. If it's 100,000 word work, you're talking about probably about an 11-hour, 12-hour listening. Okay. So let's say you do that in double speed. So that's 6-7 hours. So that's the kind of time commitment we're talking about. Now, if you spend time on voices, which you should, then you're going to spend more time on that. And if you want to proof, and if you have some fixes to do, which we hope to minimize for you, that's what we are working on. We're working to minimize that to the extent possible. But if you have a lot of fixes to do, then that'll take some time too. But increasingly we're automating this. So it's going to get down to just that few hours, I think.
Okay. That's cool. Thank you.
Part of
And
the
we'll send you an
editing
email when it's
process,
done.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the roast. It's like the turkey being done. It's like the ding on the oven goes off.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Are there books that are particularly well suited to doing this, or is it just any book you've got can go into the process?
I
Or
think so. I think if it's character-driven prose, I think that really is where it comes to life the most, those character interactions. And yet personal voice, putting, as a memoirist or nonfiction writer, having that personal voice deliver that. And now with that more emotive approach that we take, I mentioned that we're putting magic mode into single narrator as well coming up, not by the time this podcast launches, but soon thereafter, within probably days. At that point, there's going to be a lot more delivery, a lot more inflection. And so even in that situation, it's going to be really pretty phenomenal.
Mm.
yeah.
So that's what magic mode is. It's putting in the inflection and the
Yeah, it's the layering. It's the
Mm.
layering. It's the multiple layers. It's that emerging from the mist, right? Where we're building it up, like the sighs and the laughs and the pause. And it's the cadence.
Yeah.
right.
And one to the next, right? Weaving one to the next. And so yeah, that's the magic mode.
That's
The
awesome.
anti-robotic mode kind of thing.
The anti-robotic mode. That's right.
Yeah.
What about different
Gotcha.
genres? Are there genres that work better for this, do you think? Or it doesn't matter again?
Yeah, I mean, any character-driven prose, I would say, if you have multiple characters interacting, and interesting voices. I mean, generally that's fiction, right? So,
Mm.
that's yeah, going to be, for me, it's speculative fiction, but that's my thing, But we have a lot of horror, a lot of romance, a lot of mystery, um, and yeah, I mean, alien, um, alien werewolf necromancy mashups, lots of those. Works really well for those.
Excellent. Good to know. Are there,
Happy with that, Shah?
Yeah, I just
I'll bring in my
Yeah.
book right in.
The words alien
Cheryl's
and
over there going,
werewolf,
"Oh,
you've
I'm so
got me
embarrassed. I
already.
didn't know that other people
No.
like that too."
Oh,
Yeah.
it's the best.
Yeah.
It's the
Um,
best.
what kind of mistakes do first-time authors make, like who are using it for the first time? Is there anything that you can kind of steer us
Best
away from?
practices.
Yeah, best practices. Thank you.
That changed when V2 came out. So
Mm.
it's I the, you put your manuscript in, it comes out really well. There's not a lot of mistakes you can make. Don't put in a PDF. Put in your EPUB or your Word doc version, just because of the way PDFs are actually images, and getting all the right line to line, sentence to sentence
Mhm.
continuity is tougher in that format. So just we tell you that on the front of the upload, but no, that's really pretty much it. But even so, most authors, they're like, oh, I don't want to have to. It's not my thing. Like they're not like me. They don't want to listen to every single moment and proof every single moment of it, or maybe create the voices, which is why we have our producer marketplace, and you can go and find a good producer for you that will work with you to do that for you at a very affordable rate.
Mm.
And
Brilliant.
we work with Author Anchor. We work with a lot of folks who are now using our platform to help authors to bring that to life. And I would say a lot of authors, they still benefit from that. So the mistake might be to think that it's just on you and you're just going to have to plow through, even though you don't really like to do it or don't want to do it. That's not your skill set to listen and make sure everything's right. And we're going to help you out.
Okay.
Well, I kind of know the answer to this, well, I'm assuming, which is always dangerous. But I was thinking from a marketing perspective, it would be a really great tool because you could actually pull down that audio file and you could take snippets of your book and and actually have those as the audio for your reels and for your, on Insta and
Yeah.
Facebook and TikTok
For your
and
trailer,
things.
your teaser trailer, all
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
and because you own it when you download it, it's yours to use. You can chop it all up like that. Whereas if you go other ways to create audiobooks, that's not always the case. It's very limited.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm.
We have some tools there, and we will work with some of our authors selectively right now, that we're going to be opening this up, and that is to create those teaser trailers and those
Yeah.
moments, and get that out
Nice.
on YouTube and Instagram and
Yeah.
TikTok for you. And so yeah, we I've got several things I would love to tell you about, but I'm forbidden from speaking about them. And so
What a tease!
you'll just have
What
to
an
No,
absolute
have to ask me
tease!
back on.
I
You'll just have to have
I'm
me back
reading
on.
between the lines, and I think somebody from Phil's development team is like, Phil, stop
Stop now,
talking.
stop.
Stop now, Phil.
You promised what?
But just saying, it would be really cool to be able to have something go through, check those hooks in that manuscript, and just automatically press of a button, pull out those things. Just saying.
Just magic. No,
Here
that
are
would
the
be a
best
magic one.
tropish moments, right?
Uh-huh.
These are the
You got it.
this is what that reader
Yeah.
is going to respond to
Give
best.
me all the sexy werewolf dialogue scenes in 30-second bites. Go.
Space werewolf.
Bites, no pun intended.
No pun intended.
I think she probably
Very
did
good.
mean
Very
it
good.
like that. I'm just the way her brain works. Do you have New Zealand voices? Do you have like the option to have a New Zealand accent?
Yeah, we do. The so what we have right now with V2 does a really good job on all character voices. Your main narrator, we are adding more and more and more, but the main narrator will do very well, I think, with all those voices. And there's some angles, some edge, like less common ones that the main narrator falls down a little bit, but character voices do really well with. And so there's no limitation on character voices. I mean, any language, 35 languages, any accent. The actual main narrator that you get is still just a tiny bit limited, but we're expanding that and working on it. So really very few limitations on any of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about other languages in terms of what, because obviously translations is now becoming more like this, more accessible to indie authors. Is there scope for spoken in the future to be providing voices in
35
other
languages today.
Oh wow.
So,
okay, well that'll get you going. It'll keep you
wow.
busy for a while, right?
yeah, you're okay. You're fine on
Yeah.
languages, I think. Yeah, you're pretty well
cool.
covered.
I didn't even know that.
Fantastic.
Yeah. In fact, I've got a great scene in chapter 37 where my main female character, voiced by Abby Creighton, actually comes out with this Italian, this takedown of the Italian prime minister in Italian. Nobody even knew she spoke Italian. And so moments like that, I mean, just really come to life and delivered really, really well.
Very cool.
So if you've got, the other thing that something like this would be amazing for is if you're someone with a big backlist of books that
Oh
you write.
yeah.
So do you have that coming through? Have you seen much of that?
Yeah, that's a big use case. Absolutely, that's a big use case for us. And so we were just talking with somebody yesterday who has 30,000 backlist because they're a publisher, and so backlists absolutely down because the limited amount of time and the increased accuracy and reduced need to change things, fix things, regenerate, because of really the precipitous fall in the need for that with this V2 product. Backlists now becomes something that's just a lot easier to do. Yeah.
Particularly if it's a series, you've already chosen your voices from that initial book 1. So by book 10, right?
Yeah.
You've already,
your lexicon, you have your lexicon and you have your voices and you carry those through and
And do they automatically flow through to a series? Like, have you tagged that yet so that you're not constantly looking for your people?
Well, they're exclusive to you. And so if you generated them from scratch, so they're exclusive to you, so you can find them pretty easily. But we are going to be making it easier and easier that if we detect a character that was part of a series before, we'll go ahead and plumb their voice in. And that with lexicon will carry through the entire series. So that's the kind of stuff that companies that are focused on authors like you and me
exactly
do. Right?
Yeah.
That's what we do.
That's
Which
the
will
key.
also mitigate a lot of that time suck when you're looking for your voices in a multi-narrated audiobook if you
Yeah,
already know who most of them are, especially your lead characters. So then you've only got to find the relevant for
absolutely.
the others.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like
absolutely.
everything, right? Though the actual power is in the preparation. To
Hmm.
be honest, it's like, whether you're painting a room or you're planting a garden, the preparation, that your time you put into that might seem unproductive or frustrating, but the better the preparation, the better the end product. So,
Mm.
you know.
Yeah, yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. And so okay, so if someone's got a big backlist, what would you suggest for them to start with? Like, is it as ever the most best-selling books in ebook are going to be amazing in audio, or is there a different way to decide than that?
Well, certainly. I mean, if you've got some recognition of a work that's not yet in audio, that'd be the one to start with.
Yeah.
What's got the most traction so that you can get some crossover from that. And then the distribution becomes important. So Spotify, absolutely. Voices by InAudio into a variety of different endpoints. Think about YouTube, increasingly important as well.
Mm.
Um, and so yeah, I would say if you've got something that's not an audio, but it is popular otherwise, then we can help you make it popular in audio.
Yeah, okay.
So can you just, for those that are new to the concept of audiobooks on YouTube, which sort of seems a little bit of a misnomer, in that
Weird,
YouTube you
right?
think of visual, right? But uh, clearly it's also for people that are listening to audiobooks as well. So just
Yeah.
talk us through that for somebody new to the concept.
Yeah, I would say it's the fastest growing platform for audiobooks, actually.
Wow.
Now that okay, Audible and then Spotify, right? And so Spotify is now established and it's getting lots of titles. As far as growth goes, I think YouTube's the fastest growing audiobook channel. And it's so straightforward for us to plumb into that. We're going to be doing some really fancy, unique things there for our authors to help on the discovery side as
Hmm.
well. And so yeah, it's something we have a lot of expertise in. My right hand guy, Joshua Pavato, he is a film producer, and so he
Hmm.
comes from the visual
Yep.
storytelling background, and so he's helping to lead all of that effort for us. And yeah, it's just really all about bringing that story to a reader
Hmm.
and meet them where they are, but make it compelling, make it vivid, make it immersive. I'm not talking sound effects necessarily or anything like that. That to me is still a little bit distracting. I'm not there personally, and but intro outro music, yes, but not necessarily a lot of sound effects. I'm actually listening to the Harry Potter full cast audiobook right now, and they fill that with so much sound effect. Like every moment in the background has a distracting this or that. And I mean, if she wrote that the crowd is clapping, I don't really need for you to have the clapping in the
Hmm.
background.
Yeah, no,
So,
I get
but
it.
but I mean, there are certain things, and we'll be going there certainly. But the music is going to be first for us before that. But still, that immersive, making it engaging. Bring it to readers' ears. And
Mm.
there's so many different ways of doing that. Book funnel, if you want to host your own
Yeah.
storefront or Curios or just a lot of really, really good options out there.
Can I just clarify with the YouTube channel? So you've got your own YouTube channel and you're putting up the audiobook. What are they actually going to see visually? We talked about trailers, but that's different
Yeah,
to me. I mean, you could put up a trailer on YouTube, sure, but if they're actually listening to the audiobook, what are they actually seeing?
it's different than the trailer. You're right. The trailer is specifically meant for you to watch
Mhm.
and short period of time, right, and then get excited about the book and then go to it. And so for the visuals, yeah, we have a whole approach to that. It is something that on the one hand combines ambient, theme appropriate, cover art appropriate motion, gentle motion. But then on the other hand, we're going to be introducing some things there that are going to be a little bit more interesting to actually see. But I'm not going to
Don't
into
tell
that right
us.
now. That'll
You'll
be
get
our
in
next,
trouble,
that'll
Phil.
be our
Don't
next
tell
No, but
us.
now I'm
podcast.
really intrigued.
So basically, though, just for now, if we're talking sort of before that's available,
That's
you
not like the
need
squiggly.
some kind of image. So it could be a book cover. You need something that runs the length of the audio, because
Yeah, the
YouTube is
way
still
we do it,
fundamentally a video file, isn't it?
and we do this for a number of our authors, and we're going to be increasingly doing it, and that is we have a particular formula
Yeah.
that utilizes all the aspects that we can for some gentle motion to
Nice. Yeah.
make that just a nice aesthetic
Yeah.
backdrop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so with YouTube, you're putting those books up there, the audio, and people can watch them without paying for them.
Mm-hmm.
Is that
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
You're not talking about some kind of
Yeah,
subscription.
that's right. Yeah,
And then
if you've got your first novel, or you've got an experimental work, or maybe you just want to put this backlist piece out there because you think it helps support your brand and might drive them to a more primary work on other channels, it's great. It's great for that.
Yeah.
I've been told that even putting up like all of the books on all the series still drives people to download or buy the
Absolutely.
audiobooks
Yeah.
on other platforms. So
Yeah,
even if
Mm-hmm.
you are putting them up for free there, it's not like you're never going to be paid. People do
Mm-hmm.
still
and
go.
this is what I'm doing with Taming the Perilous Skies, coming out in June. And so the spoken version with over 100 speaking characters, YouTube,
Yeah.
and then I have my
Mm-hmm.
human duet narration on Audible and Spotify. And so I
Yeah.
think I'll be driving one to the other. Yeah,
And that's actually an
Absolutely.
interesting point. So you've got the human narration and the AI narration, and you're using them in different places. Would you ever put up
different
the
places.
two?
Yeah,
Would you put the two narrations up on one platform and say AI narration, human narration, or is that not? I don't know. I'm
no,
asking.
I focus certain delivery on certain audiences, and they'll both be right there side by side on my website
Yeah.
when they're both live. But no, I focus the right sort of delivery to the right audience, the younger demographic, the younger audience, that YouTube, TikTok, Instagram audience is more of my focus on the full cast delivery. So yeah.
That's interesting. That's good to know. I mean, these kinds of things are going to change over time, I guess, and we'll
Mm-hmm.
just have to kind of
Changing
figure it
rapidly.
out
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And what else? Oh, so you've mentioned, okay, so voices by an audio, Spotify, YouTube, Book Funnel, and Curios, which I don't know. I think I got that one right. Are there any other places where you would put an audio of your book? Where else?
Oh, sure. Yeah. And on Spoken.Press, we have the full list of folks, and
Right.
there are distributors like Author Republic and Voices by an Audio that we work with to help you to manage that distribution, where you have one dashboard. You've got it out in those various endpoints, and so but you're managing it in all of your economics in one dashboard. So they make it easier. But yeah, you can go direct to a variety of different platforms, and on Spoken.Press, we have that list of places.
That's perfect. Thank you. That's awesome. And do you market them differently? Like, are we just sending it out to our newsletters, or is there, like, how does it, have you got any advice on someone who's trying to market audiobooks to the audio market?
Yeah, I think that there are a lot of tools that exist that didn't exist before. We already mentioned a bit of the teasers and trailers,
Mm.
so that becomes more of I think more of a mandate. And but as far as this being an audiobook, it's still an audiobook. But if you do full cast, if you do multi-voice, advertising that, over 100 vivid voices or however, right? I mean, focusing on these things that are like, whoa, I am really interested in that, and so we always lead every made with spoken work with made with spoken with our little jingle. And that's done in your narrator's voice of your choice, by the way. So it's not stock, it's whatever your voice says, made with spoken. And then this is the production of, and then title, author, and then the author can actually add their own personal intro at the front as well. And so that'll be part of the front matter, the introduction, opening credits, and so that right there includes the fact that digitally narrated by multiple digital voices, or digitally narrated by voice actor name, or digitally narrated by the author. Um, and so that's clear up front. But anymore, I mean, just increasingly more and more, that's less, saying that's less of a barrier. We think it's important too, just say that it's digital narration and enjoy the book.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
exactly.
And I
that's a
think,
must to be
yeah,
upfront about that. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And in terms of the marketing, Charlotte, we talked about earlier, snippets, putting up on the socials. I think
Yeah,
that
I was
would be
just sort
kind
of,
of,
as Phil was speaking, I was also thinking you could actually write something specific from each character to use again in a
Yes,
reel or as advert. Or, it might be a paragraph, but it could be like a little background, like, alien werewolves. I knew something was
absolutely.
wrong the minute the full moon came out. And you could have an image or a moving image or a video of a guy walking through it, handsome, drop dead gorgeous guy as you get,
Of course. I
walking
mean,
through a
that
full
that
moon
goes
lit
without saying.
forest. And he's like,
Yeah.
well, here I am. Apparently I'm a werewolf kind of thing. Like you could do a little background to a character that would then lead to, because people are ultimately curious. And I think making them curious about the characters, how they found themselves, and then the book starts kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
to find out why that handsome dude is naked in the forest under the full
oh, he's
moon.
naked. We didn't mention he was
Of
naked a
course
minute
he's
ago.
naked, but
Now
he's
he's
not
naked.
for the sake of Facebook, he's clothed or
I'm embarrassed to say that I assumed that he was.
Yeah,
well, there you go.
same,
See,
same,
So
same. I
that's a true
assumed he
yeah,
was
writer. It's
It's
a
clothed.
changed, hasn't
true
it?
writer. Yeah.
The clothes
But
will
there's,
rule.
Said
I mean,
something about
honestly, I
Shah
think
that she said, of course he was naked. I'm just saying. Not about you, Phil. It's about Shah.
But and you imagine if you've got, I mean, honestly, the options are endless here. If you've got a
yeah,
character who's a writer, you could have them narrating the character narrating what they're writing, kind of thing. If they're a
Yeah.
mystery writer,
Yeah.
you could take it in all kinds of ways. If you are a
yeah, absolutely.
cozy mystery author, you could have the main character literally narrating a recipe as you've got a video of somebody baking something.
You
There's
as
all
a writer
kinds of
can take
things.
all the fanfic spin-off stuff that your fans
Yeah.
wrote
Yeah.
on Reddit
Yeah.
or whatever, and you take that and you put it through the narration and you make it an audio story.
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
That's
I mean,
It's
awesome.
after all,
all,
they took your work and did a fanfic of it. So you
Yeah.
make the audio of it.
Mm,
it's just
that's
the
awesome.
scope is endless.
Yes.
But if you're nervous, you could start with your prequel that you've got up free already on BookFunnel in ebook format,
Yep,
and just start with that and just, you know,
absolutely.
yeah.
That's awesome. So now that we've talked about all the amazing things that you can do with Spoken, let's talk about some of the issues that people perceive around using AI, because there is a lot of, discussion at the moment. So do you think that people are becoming more and more accepting of AI narration, or do you still get some um,
Pushback.
feedback, pushback? Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, we definitely hear mostly indirectly about the pushback. We don't get so much direct anymore. Last August at the Seattle WorldCon, I had a group of protesters come up and protest our banner, and so that was a fun little interaction. They didn't know I was the CEO and founder, so it was a fun little conversation. But I think that um, if you're doing this for the right reason with the right people, and you're mindful of how that tech was derived,
Mm.
that this is a consent based, or you've got voice actors that are getting paid for every use. Again, we have an ethical AI page at Spoken.Press. You're welcome to check this out and how these voice models are derived. I think if you're doing it for the right reasons, using the right tech that was ethically sourced, which we are, I think then people will understand that this is the right way to bring a story to life. This is the right way to bring your words that were human written to readers, right? Because it's about the words. And so yeah, we're really confident in how that's all going to evolve. It's getting better
And
and
I
better.
think you also, you're for complete disclosure as well. You know, nobody's trying to hide anything
Yes,
here.
yes.
So
Pull the wool
that's
over,
also
no.
really important.
And we're real people. I mean, you know, if you
Yeah.
go to any of the author conferences, you're going to meet Stacey, you're going to meet Joshua, you're going to meet Patrick, you're going to meet me. You're going to meet Joe Nassis, New York Times bestselling author who works closely with us. And so yeah, we're real people.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you think authors who ignore audio, like if they're not doing it at all, do you think that's a problem, or how important is audio going to be in the future? It's kind of what I'm.
Well, you're talking to the guy who thinks that is the worst decision anybody could possibly ever make in the history of authorship. I mean, you know,
Ignoring
so of
audio.
course, I mean, that's a
Yeah.
travesty. I mean, that's punishable by imprisonment. So listen, I mean, that's a trademark. Audio is growing faster than any other modality of consuming story.
Yeah.
Traditional audiobooks on Audible alone are growing by 26% year over year. And that's just traditional audiobooks. That's not talking about these other channels. And so ignoring audio, it's you know, the younger demographics, this is their primary modality of consuming this. And so this is why we're focused on places like YouTube, and it's on Spotify and on Storefront like BookFunnel and so yeah, I think audio here's the thing is people ignored audio for good reasons. It was hard, the workflow, the time, and the money involved was difficult. And if you can now do this with full cast, as vivid, as wonderfully, as accurate, as immersive as you can imagine, and do that in a way that's quick and affordable, it will be as unthinkable not doing it as it would be to not create an ebook. Like I said earlier, I know I'm a broken record, but that's how we think things are going to play out.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I like that. I'm gonna stop asking questions because that was a good summation. Although I do have one like tiny little more. So do you have a piece of advice for people who are thinking about audio? Obviously, go get your audio at Spoken, but is there anything else to think about, or anything else that you
Maybe
think
a mindset, a little mindset, just a little reassurance.
Yeah, I think that it's only going to become easier to think of audio as a primary delivery mechanism rather than as an afterthought. And so as you look at those words on the page, you know, hearing them come to life changes how you see those words and might even change your writing a little bit. And we talked about audio tags, you know, or dialogue tags earlier, making them action tags instead. And that's one of the pieces of evolution that I've gone through personally, because I write now primarily for audio. And so I think that as we think about audio being a primary way of delivering story, I think looking at your words on the page there and thinking in those terms becomes really interesting. Go and listen to a couple of pages of dialogue, a couple of pages of your character interactions on Spoken. It won't cost you anything. Go on Spoken and do it, and listen to some great voices and how that's delivered. And you're like, I want everybody to hear it this way, you know?
Yeah,
So,
that's very cool. That's awesome, actually, and it is a very good point. Like hearing it on audio, hearing it out loud is very different to reading. So that's a whole nother. Yeah, that's very cool. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Phil. It's been a pleasure. I love your enthusiasm and your passion for the topic. So it's very I'm feeling all energized and excited myself. So it's catching. I don't know how to say that
we
nicely.
love what we do.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
awesome.
So thank you for having me. It's a thrill to talk with you.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So if someone wants to find out more about Spoken, how do they go about that?
It's not tough. Spoken.Press.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect. And you've
get
got
started.
ebook, your
Yeah.
your print book and ebook out on all the platforms as well, or where's your book?
No, only ebook right now. The first version is still out there. That was pre-Kristen Tate edit. Thank you, Kristen, for me finding a little bit late. The audio and all new versions all will be refreshed by June 1st.
Okay.
Spoken 100 voice audiobook, YouTube, and then on Audible and Spotify with my duet narrators. So yeah.
Nice. Okay, so people can watch
Okay.
out for that.
Taming the Perilous Skies. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. And Shah, where can we be found?
We can be found at spargirlspodcast.com. We can be found on Patreon at Spargirls Podcast. If you'd like to buy us a coffee that we can drink while we're listening to an audiobook, or even better, if you'd like to come along and join us in our private Facebook group for author superstars, that would be awesome too. So you just sign up through Patreon.
Awesome. So thank you, Phil, and thank you to everyone listening for being here with us today for another episode of the Spa Girls podcast. I want to do a quick shout out to all the authors that we met at Ages of Pages. I had several people come up and say, "Hey, Spa Girls."
Yeah,
So,
that was so
hi.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so hello to all of you guys. We really appreciate that. Really nice to meet the real people out there who we are recording all of these for. And we will see you all again next week. But for now, farewell.
Keep well. Bye.
Thanks, Phil. Bye.